Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. Welcome to this program. Wherever you're watching from, welcome. Let's do it one more time. The reason why we are here again is to also address our concern, or basically my concern with regards to what is going on with the case of Nnamdi Kanu and how the Igbo elite are actually quiet whilst Nnamdi Kanu is fighting this fight alone. Even though what Nnamdi Kanu represents, he represents every Igbo, and he is suffering because he was fighting for the right and justice for the Igbo people who has actually lost their lives for the sake of injustices and brutality, and then ethnic cleansings and exclusion in the system that Nigeria is made up of. So the reason why I am here is that there are some things and some statements and sentiments going around after the Nnamdi Kanu's outburst in Federal High Court, which basically it is within Nnamdi Kanu's right to protest inside the court. You know, when people are zombified, you will not know your left from your right. Whatever Nnamdi Kanu did inside the court is within his right. It's within his right to protest. Nnamdi Kanu never actually, disrupt the sitting court. But Nnamdi Kanu actually protested in front of the media in the court premises. But those who does not understand the importance of right of an individual, be it a person who is presumed to be, a criminal or not, that you still possess that right until you are proven guilty. And even if you are proven guilty, there is still right that backs you up as a human being and that can never be deprived. So in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, he has every right to speak up regardless of the lawyers trying to stop him or whatever, because some of these lawyers, I cannot blame some of them. I cannot blame some of them because they know where they are. They know that they are representing a nation that does not have, any regards for the rule of law. That's why they are actually trying to stop him from protesting, because they know very well that they cannot defend freedom of speech in Nigeria, and because of that, they were trying to stop him from protesting within the court premises, and he never disrupted the court proceedings. That is the most important thing, that anybody who is not an animal that is living in a zoo will understand. Those who have lost their morale to understand that the right of everybody, every human being is preserved under the Geneva Convention, and even within the Nigeria Constitution, these rights are preserved. So in a situation whereby you don't understand these laws, and when somebody take advantage of these laws and you see that person as somebody who is disruptive or disrespectful. Now let's hear the kicker. Nnamdi Kanu in 2015 advocated that the terrorist in Nigeria that was rising up even more against the Goodluck Jonathan's regime was backed up by the government. And all of us will think he was joking. And we heard Buhari saying that he was going to make this, the position of Goodluck Jonathan ungovernable. And we heard Obama from USA interfering with Nigeria election. And we heard all that. And making sure that he basically, indirectly, supported Buhari's administration. Do you hear that, or should I repeat? Obama of United States supported Buhari's administration. Why is that? Now we are seeing a report coming from United States, regardless of whom you call Garba Shehu, what he is actually doing on TikTok, trying to exclude themselves or trying to do cover up of all the mess that they have caused against the country called Nigeria. Remember that Goodluck Jonathan recorded the fastest growing economy in Africa, and then that's when this influx of Boko Haram and all these Boko Haram are coming from all over the place to disrupt his regime. And they managed to do that so that they will take their own people and place in the government of Nigeria, and Nigeria GDP dropped and Nigeria economy dropped. What you call inflation began to racketeer the country, the fabric of the country, and the cost of living began to skyrocket, and everything was mesmerized, everything was turned upside down under the Buhari's administration. Yet Buhari's administration was on a sick leave more than on a seat, and they never gave the power of office to the vice president. Why is that? Now Garba Shehu is coming to say thanks to Trump administration, but they were in Aso Rock cooking all this mess that we are facing today. They were in Aso Rock cooking all that mess that we are facing today. Boko Haram, we know very well that Buhari's administration supported Boko Haram. Hence, they were giving them political pardon. They were giving them political pardon. Now, it has been made open that USAID were paying money supporting Boko Haram that was actually tearing the life of innocent people in the northern Nigeria and across Nigeria, that the USAID was funding them. It was not my word. It is in the media. It is actually in a public domain. We all heard that. And then Nnamdi Kanu actually raised this issue in 2015. Many of you see that man as an enemy to Nigeria because he was calling for secession, because you cannot see the bigger picture. You cannot see what is going on. Even if you see the data, you cannot understand them because it is beyond your own comprehension. And when he speaks about that, you see him as an enemy who does not have respect for the sovereignty of the country. But the country's sovereignty integrity has been violated in so many ways that the country does not have integrity before the international community. We can testify on that. That's why an organization like USAID, we are paying money into the... We are sponsoring Boko Haram that is destroying lives and livelihood of the people of Nigeria during Obama regime. During Obama's regime. You heard when Nnamdi Kanu was actually addressing Obama. We heard that, right? You called him disrespectful. You called him a criminal. You called him all sorts of names because he is Nnamdi Kanu. Because he was not Garba Shehu. He was not anybody from the northern Nigeria. That's why he became the enemy of the country. Just like what's going on today. Sunday Igboho is on the loose. Sunday Igboho is a free man. But Nnamdi Kanu is in the solitary confinement. Tell me, is there anything that Sunday Igboho has actually predicted in Nigeria more than what Nnamdi Kanu has predicted, and all of them are coming to pass? It is not because he is predicting it or wishing it to Nigeria, but he was exposing a futuristic problem that will befall you. Yet you did not actually heed the warning. That's why you actually got yourself into that mess. He told you that Boko Haram is governmental organization, that government is sponsoring it. And now you will now connect the dot as per reason why it was important for Obama to actually, campaign for Buhari indirectly. And claiming that to keep Nigeria one is a tax that must be done because Obama and his allies, they had interest in Nigeria pie, and they don't care about how many lives is going to be wasted as long as they achieve their selfish mission in Nigeria. And these things were carried out. When we speak, we are actually labeled. Just like Nnamdi Kanu is in a solitary confinement because he's been speaking about these things. Yet Nigeria has, that mind to still keep this man in a solitary confinement. And you come to tell me that Buhari and Tinubu is a saint. Tinubu is no saint. As long as Tinubu continued where the previous administration left off, regardless of the backlash coming from the north, it does not actually change anything because he left off. He's continued from where the previous administration left off, and they are playing partisan politicking. And that is the reason why he could not call out the previous administration to account for everything they have done in their own regime. As long as a president does not call previous administration out to account for what they have done, it means that they are part and parcel of what the previous administration did, and they are as corrupt as the previous administration. That's why, regardless of what happens, I will never trust the sitting administration if they could not call the previous administration to account. Regardless of, it is not about secession, it is not about personal interest, it is about reality, it is about the truth, it's about the integrity of a nation, it's about justice. That's what it is all about. Buhari worked with Obama, right? Because Obama sponsored him, that even made Goodluck Jonathan to chicken out to avoid conflict. That's why Goodluck Jonathan chickened out and they gave it all. The first time an incumbent government lost election in Nigeria, the first time, not just incumbent government, it is PDP. PDP, the dominant political party, lost an incumbent position. How does it make sense to you? Goodluck Jonathan chickened out because he was scared of Obama. The political party that is not even, in power, they were basically, in control. Instead of the incumbent government to be in control, the political party that was just newly formed was in control because of the Western influence, the influence of America. And we have seen the report coming out that under Obama's administration, USAID were paying money and sponsoring, Boko Haram. And Boko Haram has been terrorizing the country, tearing the fabric of the livelihood of individuals or innocent people in Nigeria, and they're exploiting the mineral resources coming out from Zamfara State, and they are actually exploiting it and selling it on the black market, whilst this aid is being given to them, and ammunition and bullets are actually made available to them so that they will use it to unalive people in Nigeria. So why are you not talking about that? Nnamdi Kanu warned about this, and this is the reason why Buhari was giving Boko Haram presidential pardon, and they called them repentant Boko Haram. That is the reason why Nigeria army could not fight Boko Haram. Nigeria army, we know, they went to Liberia. They actually did what they did. They went for peacekeeping. They have done many things, but they could not stop Boko Haram, because Boko Haram is not just a terrorist organization. This actually begs the question, is there anything that is like terrorist organization in this world? Is there anything called terrorist organization in this world? Because the same people who will label them terrorists will be the same people who will be sponsoring their activities. Why is that? It is no longer funny. Nnamdi Kanu now protested in court. Some individuals who are devoid of the knowledge or even basic knowledge of the law will come and be talking a lot of negative things with regards of him, exercising his right, and his right to self-determination, well supported and well rooted within the ambit of the law, and it is recognized by Genève's Convention, United Declaration of Human Rights. It is recognized even in Nigerian Constitution. Right to freedom of movement, right to freedom of expression, it is recognized in Nigerian Constitution. Now, it is a fundamental right of Nnamdi Kanu to receive a fair hearing. Now, if we talk about this 1999 Constitution, which will grant you right to a fair hearing, and it also speak against every form of torture and inhuman or degradation against an individual. But this torture was meted on Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya. But Binta Nyako, a woman judge, a woman who gives birth to children, a woman who is supposed to be upright in their judgment, a woman against all odds, is a life, they actually nurture life. They're supposed to understand the importance of life and justice. But the same woman was biased. The same woman is seen biased. Now you ask yourself, why is it that this same woman recused herself on the case of Nnamdi Kanu? After recusing herself, what actually gave her the authority to come back to the case? Because if a judge is recused from a case, they typically will not return to the case. They will not return to the case. If they recuse themselves, they will not return to the case. Because recusal occurs when a judge steps aside due to political bias, conflict of interest, or other reasons that may affect their impartiality. They recuse themselves. So what brought Binta Nyako back to the case? Because the last time I checked, and it is part of the protest, that Nnamdi Kanu was actually, protesting in court that the judge recused herself. What brought her back to the case? To an extent of actually, postponing the case indefinitely. A judge that recused themselves came back to the case and now postponing the case indefinitely. Because once a judge has recused themselves, another judge usually take over to ensure that it is handled fairly. In some jurisdiction, there may be specific procedure for how case is actually reassigned after a judge recusal. And the original judge will not typically participate in any further proceedings against that case or against that individual. If a judge were to recuse themselves, they would generally not return to that particular matter, as it could undermine the integrity of the judicial process. And if we talk about this recusal and we actually invoke 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, which circumstances to ensure impartiality and fairness in the judicial process. Section 36 of 1999 Constitution of Nigeria guarantees the right to a fair hearing, which implicitly include the right to an impartial judge. So, how can a recused judge come back to a case? Do you think they will be impartial? The answer is no. Now, Binta Nyako recused herself from the case. Binta Nyako came back to the case. Binta Nyako postponed the case indefinitely. It violates Section 36 of 1999 Constitution. So when Nnamdi Kanu stand in the court to protest, to say to the judge, you do not know the law, he was not bluffing. He knew exactly what he was saying. And he wanted the world to hear from him. So he did the right thing. Anybody who claimed that Nnamdi Kanu did not do the right thing by protesting after the court sitting, he was not inside the court, right? After the court sitting in front of the camera, because he was a smart man. He is a smart man, and he took a smart move. Regardless of what illiterate, which we use found within the crannies of Nigeria. No matter what they say, it does not change or negate the fact that the law protects the right of everybody, and the law made a provision for fair hearing and the right to an impartial judge rather. But Binta Nyako is actually, partial. And additionally, in the Nigeria Judicial Code of Conduct, as well as various judicial precedents, outline situations where judges should recuse themselves, such as conflict of interest, personal bias, or any situation that may arise doubt about their impartiality. Judge Binta Nyako is impartial due to political issues. And then Nnamdi Kanu actually mentioned those political issues. He's doing a favor to the government, while government is returning the favor within the judicial system of a country. And when we call the country a zoo, you tell me that I am insultive. You are the one who don't get it. You are the one who is uninformed. It is not an insult. It is a compliment. Even in the zoo, every animal is actually placed according to their species, so that they don't prey on each other. Zoo is a beautiful place. It is a beautiful place. Because what we see happening in Nigeria is actually getting out of hand. It is getting out of hand. The lawyers are scared. The lawyers are scared to speak out. The lawyers are stopping somebody from protesting to support their right. The lawyers are stopping him to show how scared they are. That is to show you, it actually paints the picture of what the country is, basically. It paints the picture of exactly what the country is. Now, if we want to actually talk about fundamental right of Nnamdi Kanu, Section 34 of 1999 Constitution guarantees the right to dignity and dignity of the human person, which could be invoked in the case involving extraordinary rendition. This includes protection against torture and inhuman treatment. That is Section 34 of 1999 Constitution. Why is this Constitution not being, respected or adhered to? So Nigeria is not a constitutional democracy, because they invoke constitution when they want, and when it favors them, and they actually ignore constitution when it doesn't favor them. And you want me to call it or recognize that thing as my country? No. I have lived in a country that is constitutional democracy, and they respect the constitution of their country. And there is everything that they have to do within the judicial system must come within the ambit of the law. Then how are you expecting me to accept that you are a failure and you don't understand the rights to an individual who is standing before the judge in a court of law? We have it in your book. So everything Binta Nyako is doing against Nnamdi Kanu is off the book. It is not constitutional mandate. It's not within her constitutional mandate to actually return to the case, because she already recused herself from the case. So what is Nigeria government going to do about USAID funding Boko Haram? Because they call Nnamdi Kanu a terrorist when the terrorist is within the foundation of Nigeria. They called Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB a terrorist because they saw all these things and they said, no, this cannot affect our people. I am going to make sure that it doesn't affect our people. Nnamdi Kanu took it upon himself to protect the people that he loved. That's what he did. This inhuman treatment is going to happen to every one of you. None of you is going to escape it. Maybe you think that I have a personal interest just because I like Biafra movement. No. It is going to affect every one of you. If care is not taken, regardless of your political bias or regardless of you, trying to support what you think that will favor you. Regardless of your political affiliation or religious affiliation, this inhuman treatment will eventually meet up with you if you don't start talking about it. Because Nnamdi Kanu is Igbo. We don't have faith on these Igbo politicians or Igbo elite because they have nothing to offer. They have nothing to offer. They are not representing us. But when the people prepare, when the people decide to prepare, basically, we will not actually recognize them because they don't recognize the people, which they claim they are representing. These things, respect is reciprocal. It works both ways. Respect is earned. And no politician earned my respect in Nigeria. No judicial system earned my respect in Nigeria. It is earned. A lawyer will spend 5 years or 6 years of internship. After 5 years, maybe 1 year intern. After that, they go to the court of law to be scared to speak. They go to the court of law to be scared to speak before the judge or to address the violation of the right of their client. Except if some of the lawyers are biased. There are two things involved. They are scared because they believe the judge has to do them a favor to win the case on their behalf. Because, of course, they know that there is no justice system. It's just shenanigan. It's just whoever the court or the judiciary has an eyes. If you are my friend or if you dance to my tone, we actually recognize you and dance to your tone too. So they are looking for favor inside a judicial system. They are looking for favor. That's why they are stopping Nnamdi Kanu from speaking out, from expressing his grievances. They were trying to stop him. Think about it and make it make sense. And in the international treaty, Nigeria is a signatory to various international human rights treaties, such as Convention Against Torture, which oblige the country to refrain from practices like extraordinary rendition. This treaty can impact how Nigeria addresses cases involving individuals who may have been rendered. They are the signatory to this, international treaty, which was violated in Kenya. To show you, they are not law-abiding country. And when your military is denied visa to Canada, then you call it something else. You take it personal. People who understand that the rights and the interest of their citizens and the protection of their citizens is placed first among every other thing, then you start talking, regardless of whatever these countries are actually benefiting from your country. They have right, regardless of it. They don't care, because they have to buy. If they are actually buying your black market, they are actually paying for it, whether they pay full or not. There is someone involved, so you need to put your room in order. Canada deprived him of visa because he didn't meet the criteria, and there is no one to bribe about that. And Canada does not want to say that he forged some documents, because I read the news. He never met the criteria to obtain visa because there are some inconsistencies in the documents that were involved. But you wouldn't see that. Some of you who are typical Nigerians, who don't understand the rule of law, who don't understand that procedures must be followed, you won't say that. all you see is you start talking, hey, Canada deprived us a visa. Our chief of army staff who actually was interviewed in international stage, how the human right is being violated. Do you think that a country that takes their human rights seriously will look at the chief of armed staff and grant him a visa? No, it doesn't work that way. They will scrutinize you. They will scrutinize you like a criminal because they perceive that you are actually taking part in the human rights violation, so you must be scrutinized thoroughly before a decision will be made whether or not you are allowed to go into the country, because you can influence their official. Don't you know that? All these things are placed into consideration before a visa, criteria is met. Don't you know that? Countries that take themselves seriously, countries that understand and respect their territorial integrity, know how important it is. They take themselves seriously. It is not about how you are making noise in the media. It is not about how you will say, I am disrespectful. Then, everything you see in Nigeria, Buhari, Tinubu, whoever that has been a president in Nigeria is not indispensable, because everything in the resources of Nigeria, if they have 50%, you have 50% right towards that resources. Everything in Nigeria, you made me a president does not mean that you made me omnipotent, that you cannot actually, talk about your if you are actually, not happy about some things, you cannot iron it out. You can actually speak it out. That's why you have freedom of expression. And no one can take that away from you. You cannot be beaten up and asked not to cry. You cannot. Except if you don't have democracy, you are actually practicing dictatorship. Even in dictatorship regime, people still protest. People still protest. So think about it. You guys are are quickly to go out there and cry. Canada did this, Canada did that. You don't actually think about the consequences of your action. You don't think about the consequences of your action as a Nigerian official. All the Igbo elite who are going to beg Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu, you are actually part of Igbo problem. If you are begging Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu, you are part of Igbo problem. That's what you are. Now, there is something that I saw where Binta Nyako was actually speaking about something, and with regards to her position as a woman judge. Let's hear it. Let's try to hear it. One moment.
Last year by the United Nations. It's a day of women judges. We are very happy to celebrate such a day. I send my salutations to the National Association in Nigeria and the International Association of Women Judges. I just wish to say that being a judge is not rocket science.
Being a judge is not rocket science, right? That's what Binta Nyako said. Because it's quite unfortunate I couldn't download this video, but let me try to push it to start afresh.
To be a woman judge, a female judge in a place like my country,
okay, in this like your country. Hold on. Let me push it to start afresh.
I'm a judge of the Federal High Court in Nigeria. I was the past president of the National Association of Women Judges in Nigeria. I'm currently the president-elect of the International Association of Women Judges.
President-elect for the International Association of Women Judges in Nigeria.
Last year by the United Nations.
By the United Nations.
Women judges. We are very happy to celebrate such a day. I send my salutations to the National Association in Nigeria and the International Association of Women Judges. I just wish to say that being a judge is not rocket science. It just takes a lot of hard work, dedication, knowledge of the law, and then be brave. No matter whose fault is what, the law is the law, and then we must apply it as it is. And to be a woman judge, a female judge,
the law is the law.
It's like my country and my religion in particular. It's not the easiest thing, but
if we want to hold her in her own words, she said, you must apply the law because the law is the law, regardless of any circumstance. What is the law still the law? After recusal of yourself in a particular case, you came back to it. Is the law not the law? Is the law no longer the law? And violating, and the right of Nnamdi Kanu, and the law is no longer the law. When in your constitution you are violating the same constitution you took an oath to protect as a judge, and a woman judge for that matter. Listen.
Then you have the respect of all your colleagues as well. I'm proud of all the women judges in Nigeria. I'm proud of the ones in the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and all the various high courts in Nigeria. I salute you on this important day and wish you the best and more peace to your elbows. And I pray that we all stand as models to the country and to other women in the law. And then that will now be a source of elevating and bringing in more women to the bench. Thank you and have a blessing.
She prayed that you all, you all actually stand as, I might not quote her verbatim. She prayed that you all stand as a light or a beacon that protects the judicial system. That's what she prayed for. But it looks like that prayer was not answered, because the same thing she was praying for is the same thing she was going against to make sure that prayer she prayed was not answered, because she is not protecting the right of an individual within the ambit of the law. Within the ambit of the law, she is violating the right of Nnamdi Kanu against her own speeches and prayers. Isn't that ridiculous? When you give them a particular position, they will speak so beautifully. And we thought that women can never be wrong because they are nurturers of life. But this is Nigeria. Welcome to Nigeria. That's what you get. You can never get anything better. So when we come to the Tinubu's administration, the reason why he will get backlash from us, or people like me in particular, is because he is actually supporting injustice against Nnamdi Kanu, and he is an ethnic bigot who decide that, Iboho is free, Nnamdi Kanu is in detention, yet he decided to tell us that he cannot actually, he will not take it easy on any divisive rhetorics. Yet he claimed that Nigeria is indivisible. Nigeria is indivisible. But his own brother, who did the same thing Nnamdi Kanu did, is released. And he can't see it. Nnamdi Kanu is in dungeon because Nnamdi Kanu is not from Yoruba nation. And yet he said he cannot tolerate any divisive or divisive rhetorics. Make that make sense to me. He is in himself dividing the country. psychologically, morally, and anywhere. He is dividing the country, and he continues to tell you he cannot tolerate any divisive rhetorics. Have you now seen the hypocrisy of the people you call role models, some of you? The hypocrisy of the system that you are using your life to defend. You cannot defend immorality. That is the system you are using everything you have to defend. The system don't give a fuck about you. They don't care. That's what the system does. They don't care about you. Even if you pick up someone that is so, angel, place them in that system, they will mess up. Because that's how the system is built. It's built to fail. If you don't understand that, a foundation laid on a sandy soil, the wind will blow and it will actually collapse. And you don't understand the foundation of this system, you decide to continue to build on the same foundation. Because it is well beneficial to those who find themselves, mafias who find themselves in the political space. Because of unitary system of government, the system established, where the president have power to deploy, power to everything, to interfere, which cripples the three arms of government that actually control the nation. Have you ever seen such a government thrive? And they call it democracy. If you take any Nigeria politician or any Igbo elite that is not rising up to speak in command of release of Nnamdi Kanu, not tamper justice with mercy, tamper justice with mercy, bullshit. They are actually hypocrites. I hate them more than I hate every other person outside the Igbo ethnic group. I hate you. You that come up and say, tamper justice with mercy. I hate you. I don't like you. I love those who actually stand on the truth, unbiased, unadulterated. Speak it out the way it is, without being fear of prejudice. Because anybody who speaks the truth will get backlash and will be prejudiced against. So why are you scared? Because you know what you are actually gaining from the system that is destroying and violating your people. You know exactly what you are getting from it. And that's why you are supporting the system. I'm sorry. You are playing yourself. If you sell your brother, your buyer will never trust you. Because they will be scared for their life. Because highest bidder will still, buy their own life from you. That's the way it is. The law of reciprocity. It doesn't change. That's what all this Igbo elite, your pretense, will continue to beg Igbo land to be dissolute. It will never, bring the development will never come there. Because you are not making plan for development to come there. Nnamdi Kanu love Igbo people, love Biafrans. Whichever place the Biafran cut across, Nnamdi Kanu love them with their heart. He's the only man who has actually stood firm to fight for the sake of these people and to protect their rights and their livelihood. It is in Nnamdi Kanu. If there is any other person, we haven't seen, but it is in Nnamdi Kanu. I'm not saying that he is perfect. He has his own flaws. But the love that he has for his people will actually, override his flaws. What are you known for that will override your flaws? Those are the things you ask yourself, because no one is perfect. Even I myself am not perfect. But what overrides that, flaws? That's one thing that is very, very important. Every Igbo person, every Biafran who see Nnamdi Kanu suffering and you say he deserves it, or you from Benin or from Idoma or from Yoruba land, Hausa land, or Fulani, wherever you come from, and you saw that injustice and you are praising it, remember, Nigeria revolves around everybody. One day it will meet you in a tight corner, and it will happen to you. And then you will now understand what it means for your life to be taken away just because of your good deeds. Just because of your good deeds. Until we meet again, make sure you stay safe. Bye for now. I see your comment in the comment section. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, share, and leave your opinion in that box.